Hey there, it's Eileen and Aundrea, and we are here to give you your monthly market update for real estate in Las Vegas. So probably the number one thing that people ask us all the time is, what are home prices right now? So the median home price, and I will just do a caveat by saying this week, is $450,000, which has never been seen in Las Vegas, and it's up $15,000 from last week. So
that's insane.
Last week's high median home price had never been seen before, and now we're up $15,000 more. So what do you think the reason is for such a high increase?
I think it's still that whole adage, supply and demand.
Yeah.
There just isn't enough inventory, and it's forcing prices higher and higher, and everyone's allowing it and accepting it because everyone wants to buy. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think that we're closing so many more high-end homes right now than we ever have in our history, partially because we're getting people in from other parts of the country who can afford more expensive homes, and partially because the prices have been going up and up and up for the past 2 years. And so now a home that you may have been able to buy maybe 3 years ago for $700,000 is probably close to $1 million right now. So those higher prices are leading to a higher median home price. And I will tell you, there are still homes in the lower price point, but they are having bidding wars, multiple offers. People are offering over list price, over appraised price. It's a little crazy right now. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So we will of course keep you updated once this changes, and give you all the latest information. Another thing that I find very interesting is an article that I just read that came out from Redfin. And they are saying that 1 out of every 12 homes right now that is being purchased in not every market, but in some markets in the country, is being purchased as a vacation home. So that would be a secondary residence, and not necessarily as an investment property, but strictly as a vacation home. And that's like in the $1 million range. So not, a little, well, I guess you could buy a 1-bedroom condo in San Francisco for $1 million, right. But, that is what they're saying. And I don't know how you feel about that. I mean, are you seeing a lot of loans come through for vacation properties?
No. And that's only just my little nucleus.
Right.
But in the sense of that, I think that a lot of clients are still looking for second homes because, again, as we all know, real estate is one of the best investments, and you and I will be proponents of that till the end of the earth. But the reason that has kind of changed in my world is because the financing has changed. Whereas before, someone could buy a second home or a vacation home not intending to rent it out with 10% down, get the same rate as an owner-occupied. However, recently Fannie and Freddie have decided that they want to implement costs to the consumer, making it more expensive. So that has deterred some people, but it's still happening. Again, a home loan's unique like you and I. So it does propel someone to just change their strategy.
And how long ago did that change take effect?
It's taking effect April 1st, but lenders have already started implementing it already as the end of February.
Well, and that's honestly why we do these monthly, because information changes so quickly. The strategy that the Fed takes changes so frequently that even a month sometimes, it can change a couple of times just from the time that we record one market update to another. So just keep in mind that you want to keep subscribing to these so you get all the latest updated information. And if you're in that in-between spot and you just really want some great information, reach out to Aundrea. She will give you the lowdown on any changes that are being made as far as interest rates go, so that you can make the best decision for you and your circumstances. Okay, now we're going to talk about something that, I mean, it's kind of hard, because I am super positive about real estate. I think it's a great investment. I think that everyone should own real estate if it is at all possible. But we really do want to keep it real. I want to give you the real scenarios, because I feel like if we don't, we're really doing you a disservice, because you need the information to make a great decision for what will likely impact your wealth building down the line. So with that big introduction, we are hearing words or thoughts or scenarios where there could be a recession. So what are you hearing about that in your world?
Well, it kind of depends who you listen to. Some people have indicated we've been in a recession already. But traditionally, if you go back and look at some statistical data, they talk about wartime. And again, we haven't discussed that with Russia and Ukraine right at the moment. But traditionally, during wartime, we experience inflation. After wartime, again, statistically, there is a recession. What that does for markets and interest rates is that in the recession, rates go down.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that leads. So again, recession after war, lower rates. So there's people going, oh, Holy Mary, cross my fingers, I want lower rates. And we'll see. It's yet to be said.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, because here we've been seeing that rates are steadily increasing. So you may see rates start to decrease. Now, the other issue that comes up is during the Great Recession, which I am not in any way saying that we are headed that way. There is not a bubble as far as I am concerned. Right. Housing prices are trending where they should be, even though it seems like they are sky high right now. We're actually catching up to where if you took that block of time out for that recession period or the Great Recession period that really affected the housing market, if you took that time out, we are trending for our home prices exactly where we should be right now historically. Doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt, doesn't mean that you are happy about where home prices are going if you're a buyer. If you're a seller, you're thrilled. You wish you had more homes to sell. But we need to talk about refinancing, because during the Great Recession, we had a lot of people who were using their home as an ATM. Meaning, if you had equity, you were taking that equity out, and most people weren't being smart with it.
No.
Most people weren't buying stocks, they weren't remodeling, they weren't doing things that were going to improve their financial future. They were taking it out, and they were just spending the Benjamins, and that got a lot of people in trouble. We saw a lot of people with short sales and foreclosures that had done a refinance to take cash out. So with that big introduction, what are your thoughts about cash out refi if we are indeed headed for a recession?
Well, with that, we have to, of course, we look at every person as a unique case, because again, it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think what most people have learned, they've learned, not everybody, but they've learned not to do that.
Yeah.
With the prices increasing, most people have significant equity and opportunity. The challenge is sitting down with each individual client and saying, okay, what do we want to do with this? Are we consolidating debt? Are we remodeling? What is the strategic end result, so that we're not just cashing out and going to buy a yacht or whatever it is that they were buying during those crazy times.
Yeah.
And of course, lenders now have learned too, so they're not allowing people to over and over and over and return, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. So I think that there's been a learning curve with that, and I also
agree.
think that people are still cashing out. I have questions every day about that, but we sit down now and we talk about why are you doing this and how will it benefit you?
Right.
Because there is break-even points, there are calculations, and we do need to look at all of those things to make sure you're not just creating a situation that in the future you raise your hand with the flag and say, I surrender.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's so important to actually sit down, have the discussion, and listen, it could be uncomfortable. You know, you may have debt that you want to pay off, and that's why you're doing a cash out refi. Brilliant, I think. I mean, most credit cards are at what?
23% or some nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, if you can refi even at a 4% rate, I mean, you're going to save yourself a lot of money and interest in the long run. But you want to make sure that whatever that new payment amount is going to be, because now you're borrowing more to buy your house, you want to make sure that you're comfortable with that. So if hours get cut, if things happen that are unforeseen, if you're paying $5 a gallon for gas, you want to make sure that you can still afford the monthly payment and not overdo it. So, but silver lining, interest rates may end up going down, and that refi really may come in handy at a time when you need it. So, moral of the story, discuss, talk, do a discovery call. I think that is so important to figure out pros, cons. So I know this may not have been the rosiest of discussions, but again, having the information is crucial. All right.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What is going on with recent inventory levels?
No, I'm just kidding. So it's the same. It is the same. We're hovering right around 2,000 homes, which in a town of almost 3 million people, that's nothing. That is nothing in inventory. So I want to say we might have about a 2-week inventory, which means that if we didn't add any more homes on the market for sale, in 2 weeks, all the homes we have right now would be gone. So it's a tight market. And that is causing a lot of frustration, especially with people in the lower price points. And here's the lower price points, and don't get upset, but I mean, the lower price points are probably anything under $450,000. So if you're looking at $200,000, there's really
slim pickings,
scarce inventory. So what I would suggest, and I know I'm in the market to help you buy a home, but I would suggest if you're in those lower price points and you can hold off, you may want to wait until interest rates come down a little bit, because you'll be able to afford more home. So I have clients right now who started looking maybe 6 months ago. They can't buy or qualify, I should say, for the same amount today that they could 6 months ago.
Right.
And now with the inventory even being less than it was 6 months ago, they're really, really struggling. And some of them have actually kind of got out of looking to buy. But don't get super discouraged. Keep an eye on the market, keep an eye on things coming on the market, but know that you'll be able to afford more once those interest rates do come down a little bit, which I think we're gonna see happen.
It's possible. We're all kind of holding our breath waiting.
Yeah. So I mean, and the other thing is, if you are looking to sell, which I know you're probably thinking, why would I sell? Where am I going to go? There are avenues. I am having success in finding people in certain price points a new home to go to. But if you are looking to sell, I mean, you cannot have picked a better time to sell than right now. You are going to get historically more money for your house than you ever could have before in any other time in history. Okay, so we know that this may not have been the greatest news, but remember that all the time real estate changes. It has its ups and downs, and so you may not have liked the news this month, but keep coming back because it changes all the time, and hopefully next time we're gonna have some great news for you. Maybe we'll even have more inventory. So join us next month, and we will see you then.